In 1945, the Allies won World War II. Shortly after, in 1969, NASA put a man on the moon. These are both historic moments for mankind, yet neither compares to the unparalleled beauty of 2012's Black Ops 2 Zombies. So let's talk about it. Hype for this game had hit maximum capacity after Black Ops 1's cliffhanger ending of blowing up the Earth. Treyarch promised the biggest playable map to date on launch and is constantly dropping new information to get the players' hopes up. So with all this anticipation, it couldn't possibly disappoint, right? Real talk. I came into this retrospective with an open mind. I thought, surely Tranzit can't be as bad as I remember, but I'm just gonna give it to you straight. Tranzit is the only awful map in Black Ops 2. There are hundreds of rants about this map in every corner of YouTube, so instead of going through each area and talking about why it's bad, I'm just gonna walk you through my solo playthrough I did for this retrospective, exactly as I experienced it, to really capture the nails on chalkboard feeling this map gives you. Loading in, right away you're gonna find the new main mechanic of Black Ops 2, the buildable system. You can gather 3 parts for the turbine, which is really the only map you're going to keep on you during this game because it's necessary for progression. You can then use this to open up the free door and get a part to upgrade the bus to move on to the next area. This is actually a really good way to introduce the buildables. It's easy to figure out and allows you to save some points. About the bus. Transit is really big, though most of this map is actually just barely playable space. You're going to be relying on this to get around, and unfortunately, it will not wait for you to be ready to move. So you better set your clocks because this whole map is played on TED time. First stop on our journey through hell is going to be Diner, with 1 pit stop to get a jet gun part, but don't worry, we'll get to that. The box is always going to be here at the start, plus another bus part if you have the turbine. Unfortunately, we only get a couple of box spins before Ted gets impatient and forces us to leave for the farm. If you stayed a bit longer, you'd find Speed Cola, and if you're lucky, you can get a bus part to get Galvanuckles here. Once we arrive at farm, well, I didn't have any points because I chose to hit the box twice. Surely Treyarch will give me enough time to gather some points and explore this area, right? Nope, Daddy Ted says it's time to go. For the smart players who invested in their 401ks, when they open it up, they'll find the fridge, a place to transfer 1 gun between games, which is a pretty cool concept for a map this big, and it does help with keeping the game flowing. You can also grab the upgraded version of Double Tap for Black Ops 2, which now doubles your damage instead of your fire rate. Alright, we made it to the power station. Let's just drop down here to get the power on, and oh my god, why is it so bright? Alright, now that my eyes have adjusted, let's go flip on the power switch. Oh, okay, I guess I have to build it. That's not the easiest thing to do since I'm being flashbanged down here, but I got it done. Then we can go hop on the bus to visit town. But Ted left without me. That's cool. As if it wasn't already clear that solo players are an afterthought here, the new perk, Tombstone, that is normally found at the power station is only designed for co-op, though it's actually a pretty great perk idea for this map. Since it's so big, if you go down, you probably aren't getting revived, and Tombstone allows you to keep your guns and perks once you come back. Alright, it's fine. I'm just gonna make the trip to town on foot. It can't be that bad. Here we find the denizens. These deformed gremlins will pop out of the ground and stop you from sprinting, basically ensuring that any nearby zombies are gonna catch you. But I should be fine as long as I'm careful, but I hit a dead end because you can't see shit in this fog and went down. Eventually, we make our way into town, using the last of our ammo to keep the damn denizens away, but town's the final stop, so there's probably some really cool weapons to find. Oh, there's no guns. Why are there no guns? It's okay. I placed my turbine in the power room, so I can just grab some points from the bank, which is a great system for this map, and upgrade my gun. It's closed. At some point, my turbine broke, the pack-punch door closed. Oh, and it looks like Ted left already. Luckily, I know about this map's teleportation system. If I bring a denizen over to this light, I can hopefully get a good location and catch up to the bus. I game over because a zombie caught up to me. And that, my friends, was my first replay of Tranzit for this video. It was so bad to play that for the jet gun, I had to beg some friends to come play with me to avoid running around the map 4 entire times. And they all said no, so I had to do it alone anyway. And where did I collect these parts, you might ask? Well, one spawn's in between spawn and diner, so you have to get that, then go all the way to town to place it in. Then another's in the wire in the power room, so circle back to that, grab it, then go back to town to place it in. Then followed by a short trip to Nuketown and Toten, which is for some reason on this map. You have to go back to town to get that placed in. Then the other one is hiding in a random cabin in the woods, and then go back to town to get that in. Because you can't carry more than one at a time for some reason. Good luck getting this thing built in less than 30 minutes on solo. Once you do get it built, you'll notice that it doesn't even take up a weapon slot, and you'll find out it has infinite damage. This sounds pretty good, right? Well, unfortunately, in the time it took me to say that, it already broke several times. Time to run these parts all the way back to town and fix it. Oh, what's that? One of them hit the lava? Oh, well, that's gone. Maybe it respawned, maybe it didn't. It's pretty much 50-50. Good luck. But if you do know how to not break it using the exploit, it actually sucks you into the zombies as you kill them, very slowly I might add. So if you're on PC and you don't have the patch to fix backwards movement, you just die here. Meaning without mods, it's literally unusable on PC. Alright, let's slow down a little bit. So in case you missed it, to open up the vault for Pack-a-Punch, you need to have placed your turbine in a specific spot of the power area, which is a fine concept in theory, but more often than not, it's gonna break before you make it to town, so you're gonna have to go and do this again several times. I genuinely don't think I've ever gotten this done first try on solo. Then, once you do finally get into the Pack-a-Punch room, you have to build it yourself, which again is fine, but like, what's the point? It doesn't add anything to the game by making you run around this small room for an extra minute to put it together. It's the same thing with the power switch. It's just addition for addition's sake with no real thought behind it. Looking past the, quite frankly, awful gameplay, what's the Easter egg like? Well, this map starts the trend of Victus maps of having 2 separate Easter eggs, choosing to help either Maxes or Richtofen. And this is a fantastic move from Treyarch. It adds some variety to the map and gives players more of a choice in how their story is going to play out. Unfortunately, because this is Tranzit, it just manages to disappoint us twice. The Maxis side is dull, there's no challenge, and it's one of the most generic, simple eggs you can have. It's done in a couple rounds. Richtofen is similar, but it has the artificial time extender of making not one, but all 4 players get the new EMP grenades. This was already bad in previous games when one player had to spin the box for several rounds to get the needed equipment. Moon. And Treyarch quadrupled down on this to make one of the worst eggs we have ever had. So yeah, after the masterpiece of Moon's ending, to say these were a letdown is equivalent to saying that the First World War was a mild disagreement. It's no secret that Tranzit came out the way it did because Treyarch's eyes were bigger than their stomachs, so to speak. The fog was added in because the old hardware would lag when trying to render all of the environments between the main locations. Denizens were introduced for a similar reason: stop the player from reaching new areas quickly as to not overwhelm the little Xbox 360 that's just trying its best. The introduced buildable system was a great idea that's super clear when you're looking at what it evolved into in Origins and DieRise, but the growing pains of how they should function are definitely at their worst inside of Tranzit. Just altogether, you're better off playing these survival maps that are made up of the Tranzit sections than Tranzit itself. Those survival maps have their own game modes, but since Treyarch treated them like nothing more than an afterthought, I will too. Turned as an unbalanced mess that's fun for one game and no more, and Grief is a good idea that clearly didn't have much resources to make it a comprehensive mode. At the time of this recording, it's rumored that Tranzit is actually getting a remaster for the launch of Black Ops 6, so time will tell if Treyarch learned from their mistakes. As for right now though, we can move on to where Black Ops 2 really gets good, the multiplayer crossover of Nuketown. Did I catch you off guard with that statement? Yeah, I love Nuketown. It's the knockdown totem of multiplayer, appearing consistently in every single game since it was created, so it's only natural that eventually we would see it in Zombies. This came in the form of a bonus map on launch paired with Tranzit. This map has a unique spin compared to other survival maps. You have access to all 4 main perks and Pack-a-Punch, but they'll be randomly dropped into the map between rounds 1 and 20. This system adds a lot of variety and challenge into the games. You could get Pack-a-Punch on round 3, but then have to wait until 19 for Jug, or you could get neither until round 12 and 20 respectively, and be forced to play the game on hard mode. Nuketown is very small and very close quarters, but it does have decent training room if you practice on it. Games are extremely fast paced, and with no wonder weapon, you're forced to rely on the standard guns and your abilities. Back in the day, if you wanted to become a better Zombies player, you would hop on this map and just see how far you could get. This map doesn't have any real Easter eggs, but it does have a story. It acts as the bridge between Moon and Tranzit, in that while you progress through the rounds, you can hear the events that are taking place on Moon. Then, once you hit round 25, the zombies' eyes turn blue, signifying that Richtofen has taken control over the ether. This is honestly a better Easter egg than either of the Tranzit ones, simply because you don't have to build a jet gun. There are also some small elements that do connect this map to Tranzit. If you melee the bunker, you can hear Marlton yelling, and every so often, the bus goes toot toot. This led to a lot of theories that the map could have been connected to Tranzit via the mythical bus route B, but that was later to have proven to be cut content. Besides that, there's not much else going on here. This is going to be a pretty short section. It's just a simple fun map you can hop on for a nice 30-minute game of Zombies. It's not meant to be a full experience, just a holdover until we get the first great map of Black Ops 2, DieRise. Yeah, you heard that correctly. Now, if I learned anything from my defense of DieRise video, is that this map is a little bit controversial. People either have this map between A and S tier, or all the way down in F and D tier. So what makes this map so controversial? Well, it's a very unique experience, much like Tranzit. In fact, you guys can't tell anyone this, but I have a leaked, never before seen video of Treyarch's design philosophy when thinking up this map. Check this out. If you didn't catch that, the gimmick of DieRise is being the first and only map to focus on its verticality. Right away, this is what gives the community such a divisive opinion about it. with deaths to falling becoming the most common complaint about the map. So if I told you there's 18 different doors to open on DieRise, would you be surprised? Because I certainly was. In a normal game, you're probably going to open around 4 or 5, as most of them sit in areas you don't really need to go. That fact highlights how this map is a very unique type of progression. You can get around most of the map on round 1, all of it if you have the bank, so long as you can make the jumps or know how the Tramplestein shortcuts work. With this though, DieRise has very little backtracking. Once you choose to go down a path, more often than not, you're gonna have to make a full loop to get back to it. That type of map flow has not really been emulated since, which is kinda sad. The flow of skyscrapers force you to make quick decisions that can really screw you over if you move on before you're ready. This rewards players who have spent time learning the map and all of its little intricacies, but also keeps it open to casual players because you don't necessarily need them. Outside of the one-way jumps, the main system of navigation for DieRise is the elevators. They move slowly up and down the shafts. Similar to the bus on Tranzit, you're going to spend a decent amount of time waiting for the elevators on this map. Fortunately, it does feel a lot better here, even if it could still use some work. On the bus, your time was spent looking at the zombies running after you with an occasional one jumping on a door, whereas here you'll have to be actively training in some pretty tight areas to survive the downtime. This map definitely gives you the tools to escape these bad situations though. DieRise starts the trend of having god tier wall weapons that we'll see going forward into Black Ops 3. The box is pretty much irrelevant here. You get your packed AN-97 and the Sliquifier, then you're set for the rest of the game. Speaking of the Sliquifier, this thing is equivalent to injecting pure black tar heroin straight into your veins. Or probably, I don't know, I've never done it, but I feel like it fits. It shoots purple goo into the zombies, causing them to slide around and spread damage to nearby other enemies. Up to round 100, this gun will one-shot hordes, whether you're camping or training. It does suck that Ferret brought out the Nerf guns and gutted it past 100, but for 99% of players, that doesn't really matter. Having a weapon of this caliber allows DieRise to become one of the most versatile maps in terms of strategies. If you're in a training mood, head over to the main floor, sushi bar, or the temple room. And if you want to relax and maybe watch some sensory videos on your second monitor, plant yourself in the elevator shaft, roof, escalator, or the temple room again. All of these variations vary in difficulty and speed, allowing you to play exactly how you want. No matter which strategy you choose to play though, every 5 to 6 rounds you'll be greeted with the jumping jacks. These little guys mark the first appearance of a boss round in over 5 maps, with the most recent being monkeys from Ascension. They aren't the most original, acting as a reskin of the Nova Crawlers, but they do offer a great reward for completing the challenge. If you can complete the round with 100% accuracy, you'll be getting a perk bottle on top of the max ammo. Then, if you're lucky, you might even find something new inside. That's right, DieRise introduced a new perk, and this time it's actually usable on solo. Who's Who is a pretty widely disliked perk, and I can kind of see why even if I do enjoy it. Its concept is really nice for a map this big and hard to traverse, allowing you to help yourself out when a teammate can't, or saving a quick revive on solo. Unfortunately, in practice, it's brought down by a couple tiers due to the numerous amount of bugs you can run into, such as spawning inside of a horde or straight up running off the map. Though I've probably about 30 hours on DieRise in the last couple of months going for high rounds, and I've yet to run into either of these. Oh shit, I forgot to talk about permaperks. So Black Ops 2 introduced a new system called permaperks where you're allowed to get power-ups between games for completing specific tasks. Does that sound kind of vague? That's because it is. Even today, most of the commonly used ones are understood, but it's pretty unclear outside of that how to both gain and lose these things. I wish there had been an easier way to know which ones you have, but it's still a system I would like to see come back, just slightly tweaked. Okay, back to DieRise. The main Easter eggs are an improvement from Tranzit, with some interesting steps that are not quite at the level we'll see later in the game, but very interesting nonetheless, such as filling up the tower with souls via the Tramplestein. But then you have a return to the odd and nonsensical steps, such as searching the entire map for Mahjong tiles, or the bizarre Maxis side portion, where you have to upgrade the ballistic knives just to randomly shoot them in the temple room until you get a quote. And this won't work if you have the Galvanuckles or Bowie knife for some reason. Whether you love or hate this map, it's impossible not to recognize its importance in the evolution of zombies, which is a trend we'll see inside of every Black Ops 2 map. Every single one introduces a mechanic or system that's either brought into later top tier maps or perfected in those same maps. More specifically, I think that DieRise improved the buildables from Tranzit with the Tramplestein and Sliquifier. It had god tier wall guns, and showed that Treyarch is willing to mix up the formula drastically between maps. This formula shifting is something that shines through in the next map, one that is considered by many to be where zombies peaked, Mob of the Dead. This was a milestone for zombies. I would even go as far as to say that it is half the reason why Black Ops 3 came out the way it did. And while Tranzit and DieRise were innovative in their own way, Mob of the Dead is the biggest step forward zombies made at the time of its release. This entire map and its mechanics are based around the story, which is a first for zombies. The intro cutscene sets the harsh and dreary atmosphere, showing us the cycle of escape and death our main crew is caught up in. And this crew consists of 4 imprisoned mobsters, with the most important being Al Arlington. They attempted to escape via an improvised plane, but the plan failed and led them to kill Al. They were later executed for their crimes. In-game, this is referenced via the Afterlife mode. The system not only replaces Quick Revive on solo, giving you up to 3 revives per round without taking up a perk slot, but also acts as a way to get the power on for the map. It's one of the coolest map-specific mechanics in Zombies, giving Mob a very clear and unique identity. And since it's modeled after the real Alcatraz prison, it is incredibly close quarters. This creates a challenge early on, forcing you to be careful about all of your moves and be on top of your game to progress. The Afterlife system really comes into play here to avoid making the map too difficult and keeping solo games going and allowing you to revive yourself on co-op. As you progress, you'll find dog symbols placed around the map. If you kill a zombie near it, a head of Cerberus will pop out to feed on it. Give it enough snacks and it will leave nothing behind for you. Though if you do this 3 times, you'll gain access to the Hell's Retriever. This is a tomahawk that can be used to kill zombies, grab power-ups, and complete side Easter eggs. If you complete its quest, you'll upgrade to the Hell's Redeemer, which is functionally the same thing but with infinite damage. These kind of side quests will continue to appear in many maps going forward, doing sometimes simple, sometimes complex eggs to get extra gear. They're never really required, but often help out a lot with getting set up on maps. In this case, you can even get the Wonder Weapon for free. And this Wonder Weapon you receive is top tier. In its normal form, it still has high damage, but will start to fall off in the later rounds. Though, make your way around the map to collect the parts for the Acid Upgrade Kit, and you'll turn this gun into the Acid Gat, the true form of this weapon. It has high ammo, high damage, and acts as a monkey bomb for a couple of seconds after each shot. Combine this with the new perk, Electric Cherry, which stuns all zombies around you when reloading, and the shield to turn this map from hardcore challenge into a true power fantasy. You are basically unkillable at this point. This is a top 4 Wonder Weapon for me, and the progression of Mob of the Dead is so satisfying and feels rewarding as hell as you collect all the parts and slowly become more powerful. Speaking of collecting parts, I mentioned that the crew wanted to build a plane and fly away, so to pack a punch, you're going to do just that. Treyarch finally decided that solo players aren't the scum of the earth, and we can now carry every single part at the same time on this map, fixing half of the issues I have with buildables in the first 2 maps. Putting it all together and hopping on will take you to the famous Golden Gate Bridge. Nothing is here but the pack-a-punch and some electric chairs to... what's the YouTube-friendly way of saying this? Send yourself into the afterlife at Alcatraz. If you do choose to stay here, you'll get multiple spawns of the map's boss zombie, the Warden Brutus. This Reinhardt-looking dude acts similar to the astronaut on Moon and the special zombies on Shang, in that he will spawn alongside normal zombies and act as a tanky boy that you have to slowly whittle down. There is one new twist though. If he runs by something like the boxer shield, he'll lock it up and pull a US government to force you to pay a fee to regain access. Like I said before, the gameplay of Mob is extremely closely linked to its Easter egg, so is that any good? Thankfully, Treyarch got it together after the subpar eggs inside of Black Ops 2's launch, giving us an egg that tells one hell of a story. And outside of DieRise, this is probably the simplest egg we've had. All you do is fly the plane a couple times, shock a number pad, listen to some audio files, and you're on the last step. This last step, though, is what makes the egg so iconic, taking the players to the Golden Gate Bridge to have a fight amongst themselves, gaining up on Al like they did in the story. The player acting as Arlington will have the zombies and Brutuses? Whatever, the boss zombie, on their side as they defend themselves from the other 3. In concept, this is such an incredible step, giving multiple endings based on who wins and adding some fun competition between friends. The only real complaint I have is that there are some weapons that make it pretty unwinnable for the solo player.
Alright, have fun, Eli.
Oh shit, it's already started?
Yeah, it starts right away, dude.
Got him! Got him!
Oh, wow.
Got him!
That was rough.
I didn't even get a shot off, dude. I'm telling you, Weasel gets bodied.
To describe it in one sentence, Mob of the Dead was simply revolutionary. This is the reason Jason Blundell was given the reins to take over for Black Ops 3. It intertwined the zombies mode with the story to a new degree and brought life into a community that was, as a whole, kind of falling off after the general dislike of the first 2 launch maps. Without Mob, we likely don't get Black Ops 3 or the community boom that we saw leading up to it. I have nothing but love and praise for this map, yet somehow Black Ops 2 proceeds to get better afterward. But before we get to its magnum opus, we need to make a little pit stop at a quaint little western town for Zelensky's last ride at the helm of zombies. Buried for the casual player is a paradise. It will almost always be set up before round 5, even without the bank, and ready to just have fun in one of the most interesting sandboxes Zombies has produced. Every aspect here is designed to make your life easier as a player. If you can get a couple thousand points, one of the best Black Ops 2 guns, the LSAT, sits on the wall in the starting room. Then, after dropping down, you'll find chalk drawings of wall weapons are interchangeable on the map, allowing you to not only get points for drawing them, but getting to have each one in the best location for your game. You can get even more free points and progress the map easily by giving booze to the man trapped inside of his cell. Later retconned to be a king from long ago, this is Arthur. He was transported to this town through space-time to fulfill his true purpose, locking the box down for you and headbutting doors. What a hero. Arthur is a really cool addition to this map. offering lots of side abilities outside of just opening said doors, like holding crawlers, to make completing Easter eggs or just spinning for wonder weapons less tedious and significantly faster. As for what those wonder weapons are, Barrett introduced 2 new ones, the Ray Gun Mark II and the Paralyzer. Beginning with the Paralyzer, this is a movement-based infinite ammo wonder weapon, and I am a sucker for any mechanic that affects how you can move around a map in a new way, so the Paralyzer quickly became a top tier gun for me. Stuck in a corner? Paralyzer. Can't solve the maze? Paralyzer. Can't parkour to the spot you want to camp? Believe it or not, Paralyzer. You get the idea. Not only is this movement tech super satisfying, but the gun is just straight up powerful. It can go through entire rounds in the mid game without issue if you know how to time the overheat. Simply park yourself in the Jug Tunnel, one of many great camping spots on this map, and enjoy the journey to the high rounds. Following the Paralyzer, we have the Ray Gun Mark II, which is actually more powerful. This is the ray gun after hitting that post-breakup gym routine. It'll straight up kill zombies with 1 burst to the head up to around 71 when upgraded. This was also introduced on all of the previous maps inside of Black Ops 2, similar to how Mule Kick was treated in the previous game. And on the subject of a new perk, once again we have another introduction on this map. Vulture's Aid is our drink of choice here, allowing the player to see through walls, grants free ammo and money on kills, and most importantly, makes certain zombies spawn with a green cloud that prevents the player from being seen. This is objectively the best new perk in the game, and I pray that it will return in future ones. Mixing the power of the green zones with numerous S-tier camping spots on Buried creates the perfect storm of a map that allows you to just turn your brain off and have fun. When you really think about it, Buried did what Ascension couldn't. It made the easy games fun. On Ascension, the game was easy when played in a specific way. Grab the Thunder Gun and train in the most open spaces zombies had ever had. It was linear and repetitive, causing it to get old quick. Where Buried differs is that you don't have to play the map in one way with just one gun. Yeah, objectively, the Mark II and Paralyzer are the best combo, but you also have the SVU, a sniper that shines in this map's long hallways. Unpacked, this thing is still one-shotting in the mid-20s. If you don't want to bother with the scope, grab the AN-94 and accomplish the same thing with a bit more action. You could hell even play without guns if you wanted to use Buried new buildables to hold the lines. And then if you mess up somehow, just throw down the new Time Rewinder to get all your perks and guns back without issue. And you're going to want to learn how to use that Time Rewinder, since you're probably going to find yourself with 0 points at least once and needing to rewind after running through the Haunted Mansion. To get the Pack-a-Punch, you need to battle through the Ghosts of the Manor, losing 2,000 points if they hit you. Though after making it through, a few more will spawn, dropping a free perk once you manage to take them all out. So now, not only are you armed with some of the best weapons, but every single perk is super easy to get quickly on this map. Okay, so we've established that the gameplay is amazing, but does the map work as a conclusion to the Victus story? I think yes. The gameplay of the eggs are so much better than any of the previous Victus maps. The steps are fun and engaging without a lot of boring downtime, and inside are 2 of the coolest egg steps we've had, that being Round Infinity and the Sharpshooter step. There's a bonus inside of this map too. If you completed the same side of each Victus map, you can unlock the Super Easter Egg, giving you the true ending to your story. This is a really cool concept, rewarding players for getting each map done, and I like that it wasn't just thrown in at the end of Buried's egg. You had to really work for it. I believe the canonical ending is for Maxis' side, but I'm not 100% sure about that, and I do like Richtofen's better. Buried was and still is the best casual map, and it was a great swan song for Jimmy Zielinski. It built on a lot of the better aspects of DieRise and Tranzit, while also implementing some of the improvements we saw on Mob. It marks the second top 5 map in a row for Black Ops 2, yet the game still hasn't peaked. With the Victus story finished, Treyarch needed something new, something fresh to maintain interest in the Zombies mode. So, the Mad Lads put Blundell back in front and dropped the greatest map of all time, Origins. I am going to try my best not to gush about this map the entire time, but that's going to be hard because this is as close to perfect as you can get. It's the last piece of the puzzle needed to form the basis of Black Ops 3, introducing the type of progression we're going to see in every single one of those maps. The OG crew returns to kick off the new story, though they're now aged down and a lot more serious. In the first 2 games, these guys were not characters, they were just all for comic relief. Now they're still funny, but with real motivations and goals. How can you not get excited about that? The intro cutscene shows them kicking ass, before converging in the spawn room and being forced to work together as the zombies close in. This map also contains a unique starting pistol with the Mauser, which is then upgraded into the Boomhilda. Remember where I said I'm a sucker for movement tech? Yeah, this thing is awesome.
Dude, this is why this gun is so fun. Just kind of...
The Panzer Soldat is so cool, and I will not be told otherwise. It's got multiple attack types, not just slowly running at you like the Brutus, and presents a real challenge at all stages of the game if you're not ready for them. The best way to prepare is by grabbing yourself one of the elemental staves. You have the Fire, Wind, Ice, and Bad One. Above everything else, this is the true centerpiece of Origins. Now every player can have the power of a wonder weapon, not just limited to one. Mob introduced the concept of side quests for guns, but Origins is a main quest for them. Getting one of these collected and upgraded will take about 15 to 20 minutes, but you could probably watch Lord of the Rings in the time it takes to upgrade all 4. And that's my only real gripe with Origins. Despite how much I love it, I do have to be in a specific mood to go back and be willing to run the slow progress of upgrading all of the staves for the Easter egg. Though it's less of an issue if you aren't wanting to do all of them, since it doesn't take too terribly long to only do one. Upgrading these are not simple. Each one has a unique set of tasks, but the rewards are worth it, because the staves have some of the most satisfying and fun gameplay Zombies has, and they fit all types of playstyles. The Wind Staff is great for training, acting as a Thundergun type weapon, while the Ice and Fire can make camping strats a breeze with their crowd control. And the Lightning Staff exists! The King Blundell did not stop at just adding the staves though, with a new alternate grenade type being available through another quest. Grab one of these stone tablets near the second generator, purify it in the church, and bring it back to unlock the airstrikes. These things will melt hordes into the late rounds, basically acting as a monkey bomb, but 10 times better. You also get rewards via the chests located in spawn and behind the church, giving access to a free gun, perk, and a new type of melee weapon. There's just so much to do on this map that makes my brain make the happy chemicals. They're also blended seamlessly into the map's story and Easter egg, so if you're an egg kind of guy, you'll truly see everything the map has to offer during your playthrough. Let's say you hate the idea of needing to learn all of the complex steps for all these side quests and you don't want to use them. Well, Origins also shines in its ability to blend a casual experience with a hardcore one. For example, there's no new perk introduced here, but instead the Wonder Fizz. This is a system for getting perks that aren't available as machines, being Double Tap, Electric Cherry, the Returning PhD Flopper, and the worthless Deadshot Daiquiri. That Wonder Fizz system mixes like peanut butter and chocolate with the ability to unlock extra perk slots here. If you're playing casually and not using guides, you'll likely still find this out as you play far enough into the game. Basically, once digging enough piles with the new shovel, it will upgrade into its golden form. Then, inside of the new zombie blood drop, you become invisible to enemies and can see red dig piles that give you an empty perk bottle. You no longer have to rely on randomness either to unlock the other perks, since it simply just gives you another slot. It's pretty cool, right? Now, let's talk about that Easter egg. Since this is the finale of Black Ops 2, it needs to set up the upcoming story and maintain the hype train that started with the community inside of Mob of the Dead. For the first time, we're able to interact with Samantha Maxis, arguably the catalyst of the entire zombie story, though this time she isn't an enemy. She's begging the 4 characters for help, and our goal is to actually save her. The first half of this egg is building and upgrading the staves, so if you're looking to use them, you're pretty much going to be doing the egg anyway. Then you need to place them in the Iron Giants that walk the map. These things not only look dope, but they keep you on your toes as a player because they will down you if you end up in their path and could game over you very easily. Once they're upgraded and you obtain your airstrike, we get into one of the coolest Easter egg steps of all time. You throw it down onto a panel to break the underground area, and a horde of panzers will fly out of the crater, creating instant chaos and an intense fight with your team. The only other step that gives you this kind of feeling is the arena fight inside of Black Ops 4's 9. Did I just compare Black Ops 4 to Origins? That felt sacrilegious, but moving on. After a couple more steps, you're going to end up inside of the crazy place and you have to give up your staves. Then you have to train inside of this area with the walls constantly closing in on you. This is pretty difficult to do, and without a good team, you could game over here. It makes very intense moments as just a ton of fun. After sending Maxis into the Aether, we actually get to see Samantha and Richtofen as kids in the first ever animated cutscene to end an Easter egg. This created a lot of controversy in the community, leaving us on a cliffhanger that is more subtle, but much bigger than that of Moon. Oh, and this Easter egg can be done entirely solo, by the way, so Ferret finally learned that step. Maybe you couldn't tell because I was very subtle about it, but I love this map. I've spent countless hours as a kid trying to improve my best round by just one, losing entire weekends to one game, only to die and try it all again. A lot has changed in my life since then, yet I can still count on this game and map to take me back to a simple time, where I could just lose myself into it. Maybe my rose-tinted glasses are too strong and I'm blind to the greatness of future maps, but I don't care. I don't think anything will ever take this map from my top spot. I replay the egg at least once a month, and the map several times more. This was the perfect conclusion to a perfect Zombies game. Maybe near perfect is a better word, because it fumbled at the start with Tranzit, there's no denying that, but the 4-piece combo of DieRise to Origins is an untouchable set of maps for me. I know that people are going to disagree with that, but it's an opinion that I will always hold. So thank you to Jimmy Zielinski and thank you Jason Blundell for giving me an experience during my childhood that I will never forget. Okay, maybe that got a little bit too sappy, but here is my upgraded tier list for Black Ops 2. A little bit of format changes here. Left to right do matter in each tier, so there's a little bit of reorganizing, and I'm going to start tracking the worst map so far inside of its own tier. So right now that's Tranzit. I will not be ranking the Tranzit survival maps since they aren't really their own experience, and I'll be doing the same thing with remakes in the future. I'm also limiting myself to 5 S-tier maps, so only one more addition can be made without any adjustments there. And outside of the bonus Nuketown map, only one mainline experience of this game fell below A tier. Next, Retrospective, we'll be covering the first spin-off of Zombies, COD Zombies, so subscribe if you don't want to miss it, and I hope to see you there. Sincerely, I thank you guys for watching.